Welcome, everybody, to the Avengers Endgame discussion podcast.
Yeah,
we are in the Endgame now.
What's up?
Now, this movie is a movie of the decade, of our era, probably.
Of my lifetime, let's just be real.
Yeah,
of our lifetimes.
It's massive.
We're all together.
I don't think I'll live past 30, so...
Oh, yeah, I'll live past you, because I have to get arrested a lot.
Uh-huh.
This
you're
film...
the most likely.
This film has been out for a week. We're not even going to give
$2 billion.
We're not even going to give our spoiler-free review. We're just going to get right into spoilers.
Into
if you have not seen the film,
review is that we all like it.
It's going to join the $2 billion club like that fast. That's
tomorrow.
Crazy.
It's going to be the new #1 highest grossing film of all time.
I think it did hit $2 billion by tonight.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It was at like 1.9 the last time I checked.
Anyway, though, if you
I'm still
haven't
on the
seen this
side
movie,
of I
what are
don't
you doing
think
with your
it'll
life?
be #1, but I like to be on
You're
the
fucking
outs. So.
stupid.
Yeah, well, you can take your unpopular trash opinion to the curb where it belongs.
Damn.
Well, you see, I would like it to. I wouldn't. I'd like that movie. Way better than
It will,
Avatar.
hands down.
It will.
Wait, Camden, how can you believe it won't be? It's been a week
and
it's
needs
at
to make
$2
$700 million.
It's going to top
I-
Force
I
Awakens
think
and
it'll- I
Titanic
think
probably
it'll-
tomorrow.
I think it'll go down faster than most other movies.
All I know is it needs $700 million left, and it's still going to be out for like 3.5 months.
In comparison to what it needs.
Yeah, and there's still theaters around me that are completely sold out.
Yeah, there's
We'll
still
see.
theaters as well.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, so we're all going to do a quick little 30-second review of the movie in order of when we saw it. So, Daniel, you were there for the midnight release.
I was there for the midnight release. Big fan of Marvel movies throughout the years. Absolutely followed the story from the beginning. Endgame, 10 out of 10. Would smash again. If you didn't like it, you...
All right. On that note, I'm going to give you my review.
I didn't laugh as hard as I did the first time you said
Infinity
that.
War was a fucking killer movie last year, and the ending was so good that it left
This
all
isn't
of us
an Infinity War
speechless.
podcast.
And I'm gonna get to that, you fucking fucker. Like, how do you beat the ending of Infinity War? It's so fucking massive. We saw nothing like it in Marvel history. But this film was the grand finale that all of us wanted it to be and more. All right, we'll get to why this film is so epic later, but for now I'm just gonna say it has been 1 week, and ever since I saw it, I like it more and more every day. It's fucking 2 thumbs up from me. Camden or Connor, your turn.
I'm
right.
not next.
Camden goes last.
Well, I would give it 3 thumbs up, Spencer, because
You'd raise your feet if you could.
I would raise
Only 3?
all of them. Yeah, only 3.
Out of how many?
3.
Jeez.
All right.
So
Pretty
Endgame
bad.
was great because Endgame was pretty great because this movie tied up every storyline and
How
fulfilled
great
everything.
was it?
Because, all right, it fulfilled everything that I was expecting it to and hoped it to do, because there was so many storylines to tie up, and I'm just surprised that it was able to be so fulfilling to and to just experience. I was happy that everything got tied up the way I wanted it to, and I'm just glad that it ended on a high note.
Man, you took way longer than 30 seconds.
All right, so I am probably the least into Marvel movies out of everyone here. I've always kind of felt that Marvel movies were a little overrated, but I always kind of saw the big ones, like Iron Man trilogy, Captain America: Winter Soldier, the Avengers movies, all that. Infinity War was the
Iron
first
Man
time.
2 and 3, the big boys.
Well, the Iron Man's the biggest one, so that's what I mean. Anyway,
Camden
Infinity
likes
War.
Captain.
Infinity War was the first one that I've actually legitimately enjoyed, where I was like, okay, I am actually really hooked on this. I can't wait for Endgame. And Endgame ended up succeeding every expectation that I wanted it to. It is exactly the movie that I was hoping it would be, and I was blown away. I loved every minute of the 3 hours and 2 minutes of the movie that I saw, and it was amazing. I had every emotion throughout the movie. I laughed at parts, which doesn't always happen in Marvel movies. I cheered at parts. I was legitimately clenching my asshole because I thought people were gonna die and shit. And I
thought Ant-Man was gonna go in my asshole.
And I cried a bit. And I was like, bruh, Marvel made me cry. So I loved this movie.
Camden.
Yeah, I like it. I thought it was very much satisfying for all the different characters and everything, all the big boys, and then
Big boys.
yeah, all the I'm saying spoilers. I don't give a fuck. Thor's fat. That was funny. Cap's ending
That's
that
why he
made me
liked it.
that made me cry. Iron Man's ending that made me cry, and there was just like so many things where I was just like, this is good. I like how this is all tied up. There's definitely a good number of gripes, but that was the same thing for Infinity War. But it's just like there's nothing huge where I'm like, this is what I don't like about this movie. It's always just like small little things where it's like, oh, it would have been cooler if this, or it would have made more sense if this. But overall, I'm just super satisfied with the ending and how Endgame was able to finish out this era of Marvel. And I don't know how they're ever going to make something as good as that era again. I don't think they will.
Simple answer.
Actually.
They won't.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I was talking about this with Daniel not too long ago. There is not going to be another film, I think, easily within the next 10, 20 years that's going to have a cast as big and as A-list as this.
Yeah.
This
See,
is
my one
I'm just
friend-
so surprised. I'm just so surprised that they were able to finish it out this strong with so many people and actually be fulfilling.
Well, what's
Because
crazy is
especially with
that,
it's just it was so hyped up. Like I'm surprised that it actually met everybody's expectations because especially with an ending like this where it's like, oh, it's got to be perfect. It was borderline perfect.
Yeah, especially
What
coming from
problem-
Infinity War where it was just so good. It's like you had to finish that off like perfectly, or else there was going to be disappointment and letdowns, and it did it.
Well,
I
what
was so
helped is
happy
that
with it.
what helped was that both those movies were filmed back to back at the same time.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it wasn't like they had the whole celebration, like, oh shit, we nailed it with Infinity War. We got to really make the next one
And
good. Like it was
they
like, oh, we already
actually-
filmed it. We're
Black
editing it.
Panther.
They actually gave the actors fake scripts and dummy scenes that they recorded. That way they didn't know the true ending of the movie. Robert Downey Jr. was the only one who knew the true ending of the movie.
The only one.
It was always you.
Yeah.
But
Iron Man.
man, see, I don't
So-
get emotional during movies like ever. I have never once
Pussy.
cried during a movie. But my
You're
second
calling
time
him
watching
pussy
it,
for not getting emotional.
reverse psychology. But
You're crying. You turn to your friend who's laughing at a scene that's emotional, and you're like, "You pussy."
If you don't cry, you're a
But
major puss.
I do have to say, my second time watching it, right after Robert Downey Jr. says, "I am Iron Man," I started to feel it. I started to feel it a little bit, and I was like, I was like, don't let your eyes water. Don't,
Like
don't.
I was getting emotional throughout that section, especially when he hugged Spider-Man. I wanted that. I just wanted him to hug him.
Yeah, you wanted that
but,
happy reunion.
Like after he died, I was like, oh boy. Whew, okay, I'm good. And then I hear his voice again. I'm like, oh, why do I hear his voice? I'm like, oh shit, he filmed the whole thing for his family. No. And then he gets up, and the last thing he says, he looks at his daughter and says, I love you 3000. I was like, fuck. And then I started crying.
I think the thing that got me like to start getting emotional was when Spider-Man called him Tony instead of Mr. Stark.
Oh
Where
shit, I never even noticed that.
Yeah, he's just like as he's getting pulled away, so like Pepper could go in. He's like, Tony, and in that's when I'm like, here it comes.
I need to see the movie again. I've only seen it once.
Yeah,
I
same.
need to see it again too.
It's
I have seen
definitely
it
a movie.
3 times now, and I'm probably seeing it again tomorrow.
Jesus H.
I
why
will
it's so- that's why it's
contribute
so
to them.
high-grossing.
Yes,
It's all
I will
from
contribute
Daniel.
to them to beat Avatar. Where were you when it beat Avatar?
They're
got
at
a-
2
I was watching it
they're
for my
like
7th time.
They're
I
at
was
like
there on the front
2.7
lines.
7 billion. They're like a million behind. You're like, I can help.
I'll take out a loan.
Yeah.
I'll sell my house so that it can be the new
I'll
number one
mortgage my
movie.
house.
Babe, we're mortgaging the house. Endgame's got to beat Avatar. All right,
Exactly.
Look,
that's the movie of our lifetime.
you'll get famous for that. So
But my one
money
friend
from that.
actually,
Just mortgage your house, bitch.
my
Do it,
friend actually
pussy.
pointed this out,
You
going
won't.
back to what Spencer was saying about how me and him were talking about, like, this won't be beat for a while.
Going
It
back
took
to what
them
Spencer was
3
talking about,
days
what we were
ago.
talking about.
Yeah. 3 days ago, it marked 11 years since Iron Man 1 came out. For 11 years, this has been built up for this epic conclusion. if it takes, let's just say 10 years for that to happen, I'll be 30 years old before the next big, like, Marvel collage happens.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
I just don't even think, like, because this is the first time that this has ever happened.
You don't?
Can I speak?
It's
Yes,
a
I
common trait of Connor, actually.
I don't
See?
think that. Shut the
That's not true.
Don't make me go off.
My
Also,
baking.
I'll go get arrested.
I just
be easy
farted
for
into
you.
my microphone,
I
but it
don't-
was a
I don't
weak fart,
think-
so you couldn't hear it.
I don't think that. Even
was
if
like
Marvel,
a...
I don't even think if Marvel tries to do this again, it'll be as big because this has been built up and there's been nothing like this. That even if they try to replicate it, I don't think it'll be as successful.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that
This is
Marvel's
history.
going to beat this. I don't think that Marvel's going to beat this, and I don't necessarily think that anything can beat this. This is
Agreed.
This is something that will stand the test of time. I don't think that anything can come to as close as successful as this.
I mean, this was essentially the series finale of a TV show where every episode was a movie that a ton of people
that
watched
had millions,
for
hundreds
11
of millions
years.
of dollars.
The way I see
Yeah.
it now, everything else is a spin-off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
in a way.
This is basically a spin-off series. This is Better Call Saul.
Like I know
Yeah.
it continues. I know this is just the end of Phase 3. They have plans. They're going somewhere. I get that, but to
don't
like
care.
to people who've been attached to these characters, like the two people in superhero movies that are like iconic to have played their role are Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like you cannot replace those two as that role. So
Yeah.
growing it's like if they did like a Deadpool X-Men crossover with everybody that you've seen in all those movies without Wolverine. Like
Yeah.
that's like it would still be like, oh cool, we got, some of our favorite superheroes together, but it's like the OG, the founding father, the coolest ones just like not there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it just won't be the same.
That's why Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man is one of the best and well casted roles ever.
Oh,
He
yeah.
better
was
get
made for
he
that.
better get an
Downey
award
Jr.
for this.
Fucking killed
Well,
it.
it was also that life like imitated art because Iron Man was a return of his career. Like before that, he had completely fucked his life up, and so in a way, like he was able to relate to Tony Stark in that aspect. Where
In
Tony
a way,
Stark,
he was Iron Man.
in a way, he was Iron Man. Yes, cocky asshole who fucked up his life and then finds redemption.
So let's
through
quickly
cheeseburgers.
jump right into kind of the
Let's
big...
just jump right into it.
Let's get filled in right now on some of the
Oh wait, I said
biggest-
I would tell this on the podcast because this starts with the beginning of the movie.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm sitting there in my theater, it's packed out, midnight premiere, and I had a very vocal theater. Everyone was pretty good with their reactions and everything. So we're sitting there through like advertisements, the Rise of Skywalker trailer comes on,
Yeah.
everyone starts booing it. And I'm dead serious. Like half the auditorium was booing it. These kids in front of us were like, "The prequels were 10 times better." Like,
Damn.
They were like, everyone was roasting this
All right,
movie
well, don't
during the
insult
trailer.
them.
So this is what was being said. I'm not saying this. But anyway, though, so the lights start to fade. The movie starts to come on, and it starts off real somber, picking up right where Infinity War left off. And this guy sitting like 2 rows behind me, because it's quiet as anything, just says super loudly, he's just like, lights fade, camera pans down, Thanos is jerking off in a cornfield. But he says it with like this, his voice was like so deep but loud, and he said it like so like monotoned, like dry humor way. And like I'm not lying, like half the theater just erupts in laughter. You're seeing Hawkeye with his family as they're getting dusted, and there's people still laughing at this guy making a comment about Thanos jerking off.
Oh my god.
Dude, I remember like just sitting in the theater when that started, and nobody was ready for the movie to start. It
I
just
know.
kinda just happened.
Yeah.
I know, I
Because there was
wasn't even- I
no
like-
flashy intro.
Yeah, I was talking to Keaton next to me, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, what commercial is this? Oh, it's Hawkeye. What the fuck? All right, it's on. The movie's on.
Yeah, that was a huge moment. Just them disappearing was fucking crazy.
But I
wanna
love that
say,
it starts like that.
That first scene, to me, like, right away, what I love about Endgame is it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. It feels like something else entirely, and that first scene captures it perfectly. There's no music. It's just very simple. We don't start off with a huge action sequence, and just right away, they gut us with emotion, and then the movie just goes in. I'm just like, fuck yes, I'm excited for this movie now.
it was cool because like we saw it like as soon as he went to Hawkeye, you were like, yeah, Hawkeye's family's gonna get fucked over. It was like, yeah, Hawkeye's family got fucked over, but it was still like powerful.
Yeah, the beginning of this movie was completely different from anything before because it was all different.
Can we also talk about that moment at the very beginning where Tony fucking takes the heart out, or like that was a fucking awesome scene.
Well, yeah, I love, like, Tony was at his lowest. Like,
yes,
he's fucked up. He's all, like,
all
skinny
time.
and shit. And he's just like, we just fucking lost. Fuck you, fucking, then just collapses.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god.
That was awesome. That was really
I
good.
genuinely
Yeah,
like that scene. I love that scene,
beginning-
actually.
Dude,
The
Tony
beginning
died.
of this movie. Oh my god. The beginning of this movie made everybody feel like just it's fucked and there's nothing they can do. Like they gave you no hope at the beginning of this movie.
But then
They
the
made you
rat saved
still-
everybody. That rat saved the universe.
They made you feel the way that you felt at the end of Infinity War, and that was awesome. Like they're just like, yep, it's still shitty as fuck. You're not going to be happy.
It's still
for it.
shitty as fuck.
Now, then they go to get Thanos, and all of a sudden, Thor just cuts his fucking arm off. And I'm like, holy shit, cool, that they did it. And he's like, the stones are gone. I'm like, okay, so where's this movie? Oh, he just cut his fucking head off.
Yep.
I was like, holy shit, this
everyone
movie is awesome.
cheered during that.
I'm
Like, there's people just screaming, like, yes!
Like, here's the thing. The trailers fuck me. You go to film
It's
college
Heed,
for 3.5
Chris.
years and you don't know how to speak anymore. That they cut, like, all this was hidden from the trailer. Like, this movie is so secretive. I feel like more movies should act like this, where you really don't know what's going to happen. Like, most movies nowadays, the first, like, 45 minutes, you know what's going to happen because it's just typical movie stuff. But here, we're like 20 minutes in, and Thanos has his head cut off. And I'm like, I have no clue where this movie's headed. 5 years later, all right, fuck yeah, let's go. Like, the whole movie's just a journey, and that's what I loved about it.
Like that was something, because it takes a while for it to say 5 years later. It says 5, and I was thinking months later, weeks later, like.
Yeah,
and
I
it
thought I was
said
gonna say
years.
months.
I was like,
Hours?
yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, when it
5
said years,
hours
I was just
later.
like, oh.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll say 5 hours later.
5 hours
hours,
later,
like,
I'm
trying to-
They're just still on the spaceship coming home. We're like, guys, this sucks.
Yeah, Gamora's trying to stick Thanos' head back on like a Lego.
Yeah.
There is Gamora.
5 hours later. They're just like, I just slept a little bit. That's pretty much it.
This movie. This movie definitely has a slow build up, but like it's the payoff.
Although
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, my first time watching it, I felt like that. But after seeing it a second and a third time, I feel like there was never like a dull moment where I'm like, okay, just get to it. There was constantly something going on where you were just
No, the
paying
pacing
attention
of
and
this
you were
movie
like,
is great.
Yes,
because
yes.
it's
Definitely.
never boring at all. Even though it's
Yeah,
3 hours.
The only thing, when I go back in hindsight and I'm looking at it, the only thing that took a while, and they did it perfectly, and it was rightfully so, was to show Hawkeye and Black Widow on Vormir to get the Soul Stone. Because they wanted
Yes.
to actually make her death meaningful, because they had limited time to, grieve her and then, continue bringing everyone back. But they made it so impactful and meaningful with the
See,
way they handled it.
that's one of my gripes.
Yeah, let's talk about that moment.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking there. This happened in Infinity War a lot, where it was like, this would be really cool if just this one thing was changed. Because it got it just got comedic to the point where they're just going back and forth, just like, I'm gonna kill myself. Oh no, you little rascal! I'm gonna kill myself, and they're just like going back and forth to the point where they both fall off the cliff. And then she hangs on and whatever, and then falls off. And I was just like, it would have worked a lot better if she was like, if she just said like, we both know I have to do it, and he's like, no, you're not gonna. Trips her one time, runs over, she stops him another, and it was like, and then, but then
Yeah.
that
When
would have been
Hawkeye-
better.
It would have
When
been
Hawkeye
fine if she just stunned him.
It's like
When-
4 switcheroos and Hawkeye shoots an explosive arrow at her. I'm like, shit, you're gonna fucking cripple her so you can kill yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought the
try
same.
crawling off
I
that ledge.
completely
dumb
agreed
bitch.
with this when I heard Camden say it the second time. But again, or when he said it the first time, after we all talked about it. But again, after rewatching it, it wasn't that much that they did that. They're sitting there talking and they never come to an agreement, and all of a sudden he just tackles her to the ground, and then she flips him and then runs. And then he, shoots at her to
No,
stop.
the
It's
amount-
not
the
that
amount of
many
times-
switcheroos.
No,
There-
yes, it
there's
is.
too
The
many
amount of
switcheroos.
times they switcherooed was
There was
like
three
three too
switcheroos
many.
in total.
No, it
In
was,
total, there was
okay.
3.
Yeah, it was Hawkeye switcheroos her, she switcheroos back, he switcheroos
No, he
her
just
again.
tackled her. She switcherooed it, and then
Because
he
they both
switcherooed
agreed.
her, and then she switcherooed it. That's 3.
It's because they both agreed that she was the one who's supposed to do it. He went, okay, you're right. Then switcheroos it to her. There's 4, and 4 is way too
there's
many.
only 3.
There's 2 at most is what you can do.
You're allowed.
One,
Yeah, you're allowed 2 switcheroos, and after that,
and then 1 if you're not counting the one that you're not counting for whatever reason.
But I mean, I could see how you would say that, and I completely agreed with it. But after watching it again, I honestly did not have that thought, and I paid attention, like specifically to that.
Aside from that,
I'm excited to rewatch it. I'll see.
Yeah.
Aside from that kind of failed comedy, the actual comedy in this movie is fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah,
Flick me.
this was like the first Marvel movie where, because one of my main gripes of Marvel movies in general is the sarcastic quips where they gotta shove the little humor in every scene, and most of the time it just like doesn't fit. Like in Infinity War, one of my least favorite ones was the Tony Stark flavored ice cream joke. I was like, okay, this just doesn't fit. Can we move on?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't remember
Exactly.
I
That's
remember that.
that's a sign of it being a bad joke. But
Yeah,
in this
this
movie, you
movie,
got
it's
stuff
great.
like, in my opinion, that's America's ass. Like, I love that.
As he
He's
salutes.
standing
And-
on his shoulder, he salutes them.
And that works
He's so
because
tiny.
Ant-Man is just constantly trying to prove himself to Captain America.
Yeah, he's a Cap
Idolize him.
fanboy.
Yeah,
so he
definitely.
like
Yeah,
all of him trying to idolize him is funny, and it works because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Ant-Man himself is
it's
just
in character.
The same thing
Ant-Man
with
himself
Infinity
is
War,
just
though. Like,
hilarious.
the comedy in Infinity War for me most of the time landed. Like I really love the joke about like how long have you been sitting there? Like an hour.
Okay, but that joke, here's the thing though. That joke worked, and then they went too far with it. All they needed was for them to say, how long have you been standing there? And he just says, an hour, cut to the next scene. That's funny enough. But then it's like, I have this magical ability to be, blah, blah. It's like, alright, I'm done. We don't need to sit on this joke for a whole minute. This movie's long enough.
Was that fucking Drax who said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that fucking fucker. I fucking hate how I'm so glad he didn't like say anything in this movie, because every time it's just always been the fucking Drax show. Every time he shows up in a movie now, where it's just like Guardians. He's so funny because the first Guardians, mind you, the first one.
Yeah, and the second one,
he's
they
so
overdid him
funny
so much.
because he's like, his thing is that he doesn't understand like English language and like what like jokes are really. So then he just takes everything literally, and then it's like it just doesn't make sense after that, and they just go too far with him. But everyone's like, "Oh, Drax,
I don't know why
he's so
it made me
fucking
laugh
funny."
so hard. But I love in the first Guardians when Drax is just like angry and he steals the guard's knife. He goes, "I'm keeping this knife. It looks cool." And then you hear the guard just say, "That's my favorite knife."
I was actually like thinking that the comedy in this movie wasn't going to be good at all because most of the Guardians were gone,
And it's a depressing movie.
Yeah, I was like, all right, there's not going to be much comedy in this one. This one's serious, but the comedy in this is arguably the best ever.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when Tony discovers how to fucking time travel, he's like, shit, and everyone laughs, and then he turns around and his daughter's sitting there. Like, that's funny and, like, cool and, like, heartwarming all at the same time. And then she says
Yeah.
shit. It's like,
And the way he plays it off too, he's like, no, we don't say that. Mommy coined that word.
Yeah.
He's like, that's her
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
The only time that I feel like the comedy other than the Black Widow fucking Hawkeye switcheroo shit. the
Well,
only
okay,
other time-
that scene isn't meant to be comedic, though. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
it fails. Yeah.
No, I know, but like it's kind of like trying a little bit type deal, and it's just like a failed comedic attempt.
Yeah.
After she dies, there's also kind of comedy like right after it, but like I'm still kind of mourning her death, so it's like just a rush of emotions, and I don't really know. Like I feel like the jokes that they do after her death are a little rushed. They need to like take time to like, oh shit, like she's
That's
dead.
yeah. I didn't at first. I didn't feel like that because the way Thor reacts to it, if you like, he just sounds like a dick. But if you put yourself in his like in their situation, you understand. You're like, oh, of course he would think like that. They just got the stones. He thinks anything can be undone. So it's like logical. But as soon as they're
definitely.
done with that scene out on the dock, immediately it goes to Tony putting the stones on the gauntlet. And everyone's like focusing, and then you have rockets. You go boom, like scaring them. And it was like, okay, that was a little too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
that. I get that.
That was
feeling.
the only time that I feel like the comedy was like, maybe a little misplaced because somebody just fucking died. That's a big deal.
And one of the main six, the first time one of the main six died.
It's the first time anyone actually died other than Gamora
Yeah.
and Vision.
Loki.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Loki's
but
back
it's like
alive
it's like
now,
some
so
yeah, but someone like of actual and like
yeah, like
actual like real meaning.
been around for a while.
I did want to shout out a moment that I know Camden had an issue with, and I want to give you your chance to kind of talk about it. First, I'll start with the part that
Oh,
I
no.
liked about it, the Hail Hydra.
Oh yeah.
So okay,
That was cool. I don't know.
I
why
feel
you
like
don't- I don't know
Camden's
Yeah.
complaint against it is just because like they were recreating it and he was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of my favorite scenes ever," and then he just kind of spins off on it. So it was more of a like,
Well, it was
you know.
disappointment, and it was more. They definitely built it up to be like because they did the exact same shots that they and
Oh,
just
of
like the
course.
exact same
well,
setup
it was
that they were
supposed to
doing
be
in
a
it.
Yeah, that's
callback
the
to
point.
that scene.
Yeah, I think they did it that way on purpose. I
Yeah,
don't think
Yeah,
it was,
and
they set it up-
I know they did it on purpose, and it was a dick move. If you're gonna set up something that's
It was a
fucking cool like that,
There's so many
then-
callbacks in this movie to
Okay,
other
but
moments.
to be fair, Camden, they traded that for Captain America fighting himself,
they
which
didn't
was a
trade.
cool fight
They
scene.
didn't trade that. That's not trading. I'll admit, yeah, that was awesome, and that was awesome. But you could do two awesome things. It's not. It's not like we're like we don't have the budget to remake the fucking elevator scene. You're fucking Marvel.
I mean,
you can
but
do
if
whatever
and
they
you
I don't,
want.
did-
I don't think that it wasn't awesome when he said Hail Hydra and came and then he left
Yeah,
the elevator and
everyone
they just stayed in there.
freaked out when
Everybody,
he
not
said
only
that.
did everybody laugh in my theater, everybody was cheering.
Dude,
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
everyone
that's
cheered
awesome.
when he just leaned in and was
I
like,
love
"Hail
that
Hydra."
moment, honestly.
Like,
Everyone
that was like one of the
freaked out.
smartest moves that he did. He's like, I could fight all these guys, or I could say two words and just walk away.
Well, because also if you think
I
about
don't
it
love the
logically
Hail
and the
Hydra
whole
thing.
point
I
of
got a
time
chuckle
travel and
out
not
of it,
messing with
but-
stuff, like if he fought them then, that just messed up all the events of the other movies because he's not supposed to know about it yet.
I mean, you could figure out in a way, or it could be like, oh, he's Loki, and then that or like that's what the bad
But
guys.
I don't.
could
I
think. It's
honestly
like,
like
oh,
the way
he's
they
Loki.
handled it because it was a callback to one of the best scenes in the MCU. And then they like put a unique twist on it, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it was so cool!" And they added something new.
yeah.
Well,
That
it
was
wasn't
one of my
cool.
favorite things about
It
when-
wasn't
the
like
opening
because
scene.
I was just sitting there. Excuse me. I was just sitting there going like, "Oh, I'm just waiting for him to say, before we get started, does anyone want to get off?" And then that would also be a thing where like afterwards I would think about like maybe that didn't make 100% sense for the timeline or fucking whatever. But it's like in the moment I was like, oh, I'm so fucking pumped for them to do this again, and then they just didn't do it, and they purposely built it up. That wasn't like a callback. They were building it up. He was the fucking.
Oh god.
Okay. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Overall, I think Camden, you seem to be the one who has the most gripes about the film, so it almost kind of makes sense to just like address every gripe that you have and see
Yeah.
if you
Yeah,
disagree.
actually, go.
Because
for
I'll
it.
debate you on most of it, but at the end we're gonna have our own opinions.
The
I don't know. I forget too many.
The Black Widow one I agree with. This one I don't. So what's the next one?
I don't know. I can't think of it. It needs to be
Well, okay.
like talked about.
Let's try and
then-
like go in order of the movie. So, okay, so-
the biggest thing I think is just Thanos. I just think is way cooler in Infinity War than he is in Endgame.
I will kind of second this, honestly.
Okay, I
And-
agree, but it's understandable in this one because the
Well-
thing is like like Thanos won already, so it's like. Okay, what else do
Yeah.
you do with the winner of Thanos? You kill him off, and then you have past Thanos, who's just a fucking dick. who has
Thanos is a dick in this movie.
He is.
Yeah.
He gets everything
See-
handed to him. He sees that his victory led to
If you-
basically nothing good. So he's just like, "Fuck you guys! I would just destroy the whole universe." Suck
Yeah,
a dick.
he's like,
It's
yeah,
okay.
and
Look at the plot of
fucking idiot.
Infinity War through the eyes of Thanos, right? Like, obviously he's the villain. He just killed half of life across the entire universe. Like, he's the villain. But in his eyes, like, it's not like he enjoyed it. It's not like, oh yeah, I just want to murder people. It was, I want everything to be good and I want people to thrive, so I'm going to do what needs to be done so the rest of the world can thrive. Like, in his eyes, he is the good guy. He is the saint.
I-
He is
I
the
know,
one
I
willing
get
to make
that.
the sacrifice. And
I
this
get that.
one, like,
the reason he's
this one, he's on a
different-
journey, and he just found out, like, hey, I succeeded. Hey, people are trying to undo what I did. Hey, they killed me. Like, if I don't do something about it now, I die.
Hey, they killed me.
Yeah, like they
Well,
literally
he
killed
didn't
him.
care.
He
He didn't
watched
care if
himself
he died
die.
or not. No, he didn't care if he died
I
or
mean,
not. He cared more
didn't,
about
but I'm
if
sure
his
if
thing
you knew
worked.
you were gonna die and you could prevent it, I'm sure you'd want to, and you'd want to kill the people who killed you.
Well, no,
So-
his whole thing was that he wanted his plan to work, and he realized.
Well, yeah, but I'm
it didn't
still
matter if he
saying.
died or not. The reason he went back and wanted to kill all of them was because he figured his plan didn't work.
But
He was like
that's
only half
exactly
them got
why.
wiped out.
He realized that his whole intentions of killing everybody wasn't enough. Like he needed to do it a different way.
All right,
So-
let me explain to the audience why. Is we talked about it beforehand, but I didn't say it in this yet. It's why I think, or I just don't like Thanos nearly as much in this movie. Is well, one in Infinity War, he's just he's like I understand him better, and he's still a psychopath, but he's more like shows more good sides to him instead of just this is the big bad guy that we need to go after. I don't like the fact as much that he's just a fucking asshole in this movie because it's just like it's more reason to hate him, whereas the better villains you understand them more. But in this one, it was also kind of lessened because it wasn't the same Thanos that killed all of them, so they're fighting a different Thanos technically. And then so I never felt it as big a thing. It was never like because they have that moment in Infinity War where he's like talking to Iron Man and he's like, you know what? I hope they remember you. He's like, I respect you, Tony. And then that moment with Captain America where he holds him back for a second and he's like, whoa, that's crazy. This guy's holding me back. And then in this one, they just go straight to the fighting and they don't have nearly as much beef with each other. So I think it does lessen that a bit.
I can agree. I just, for some reason, that doesn't bother me as much when I watched it. Just because, I understood why he was less interesting. He's a younger, more immature Thanos. And I guess, in the end, that's sort of the trap that they gave themselves, the writers, by killing off the cooler Thanos right away in the beginning. And then it's like, well, what do you do? You solve the whole Infinity Gauntlet. Well, that's too easy. You need something else. What if past Thanos finds out and goes forward in time and all this shit and really starts messing shit up? And it's like, there's not enough time to make him
I
sort
also
of the
just think in
sympathetic
general,
character he is in Infinity War.
I also just think in general, when you introduce time travel into any story, it's like it becomes a fucking mess.
Yeah, I do think this movie handled time travel good enough. The rules still are not
they did
fully
do a
clear
good
to me.
job of it.
But overall, it worked out, and we got to revisit eras, and that was so cool. Because as soon as that started happening, I was like, I have no clue where this movie's going. I'm just excited.
Yeah,
I'm
they
off
did.
the
They
ride.
did a lot of really cool stuff with their.
That was
past,
I felt like they handled it
selves.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, and
the
I like how
Cap
their
fight is great.
thing. I like how their thing was. We're gonna make time travel in our movie so just
Yeah,
complicated.
they made it different.
We're just so complicated, so that way people don't ask about it, and there's whatever. I'm gonna go with it, and
That
it
was
works.
actually one of the biggest beefs for the nerds of the movie. Then that was addressed in a lot of interviews.
Yeah, everyone's
because
saying the ending of Cap doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, there's so many plot holes with it, and
I don't
anytime
really
you have
think there's
time
enough
travel,
plot holes for it to be a problem, honestly.
Well, I mean, if you think about it logically, and if you analyze just the one conversation where Hulk and the Sorcerer Supreme talked about time, it's just full of plot holes. But
I don't.
the way
I don't
they handled it
I don't
in this
necessarily
is-
think that. I think it's something that you kind of just have to
Well, I mean, here's
just
the biggest
infer-
plot hole for you right here. I think it was in Infinity War. I don't think it was in Endgame.
Yeah,
Where
I
they
think
basically
I know what you're saying.
explain the Infinity Stones, and they tell you, they say what each stone is, and they say the stones make up, existence. Without the stones, there wouldn't be existence. So the moment that Thanos destroyed those stones, everything should have ceased to exist. Because there is no existence without those stones. And also the scene with the Sorcerer Supreme where she's explaining to the Hulk, hey, if you remove one of these stones, it opens up an alternate reality of dark and evil things. There is no stones anymore. So everything would be an alternate and evil reality.
Okay, well then in Infinity War, when the Mind Stone is destroyed, nothing happened. It wasn't like everyone's minds exploded or whatever.
Well, that's
Mind
the
Stone was
point. That's a
destroyed.
plot hole because of their whole thing saying that the stones make up everything. Without the stones,
Yeah.
there would be nothing.
Yeah,
they
maybe-
said that in the movie. So
I'm sure-
since
There's a
nothing
plot hole
happened,
in
it's a
its
plot
own
hole.
movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I'm not arguing the plot holes of those stones. I'm arguing that there's a huge plot hole with Cap coming back. I don't necessarily think that there's a huge plot hole with that because it's just kind of you have to infer. Okay, he went back in time and he stayed and he did his own thing. Sure, he may have split off into his own dimension because he stayed and he in reality he gets frozen or whatever.
Yeah.
But he just makes his own dimension, goes off and does that. And then
It's
just
it's his own alternate reality.
Plot holes to me.
Well,
and then he just comes back. I don't really like after he's done living out his life and gets to that age. He has the ability to come back. He was going to come back anyway, so he just comes back to the reality after.
Yeah, you can just say he traveled to universe B, lived life
that.
with Peggy, and then came back to universe A as an old man.
Yeah, to the
I don't really
rules
think
that
there's
this
a huge problem
movie
with
made up when they were talking with Hulk and the girl from Doctor Strange, I don't think Cap broke any of those rules going back to stay with Peggy or anything.
I think it's fine.
The only one that kind of messed it up was with Loki, because if there was no Tesseract, there wouldn't have been a continuation of the Tesseract goes back to Thor, which is involved with the plot in some of the Thor movies. That would never happen now because Loki disappeared with the Tesseract.
Yeah,
their whole thing was that you can't change the past, right? It was just you go back, do that.
No, you can't change the future by changing the past. Was the thing. Because if we went back in the past right now, this moment right here would be our past, and the moment we go to it would be our future.
I think with the Loki thing, one, I think him doing that is kind of majorly just a setup for his TV show.
Yeah,
I think that's the main reason why they did that, not for the movie.
Well, and
sake.
also a setup for Tony Stark to go back in time and see his dad and all that.
That. But I think for one, it's kind of two-handed with them. Let's go back and visit another time. But then also hey, Loki's got to have a TV show. Let's do this. So then you have that. But I don't necessarily think that it's a problem because it's just if Loki goes there, he's changing that reality to go off and split off into another thing. Their reality doesn't change because, like you said, if you they're changing the past.
Yeah, because that already happened.
But it doesn't it doesn't affect their reality. So it really doesn't affect since it doesn't affect the main Marvel Cinematic Universe reality. I don't think it matters. Sure, it splits off into another dimension.
That's none of it really
I think they're
matters.
just hey, there's a bad dimension. Fuck it, I don't care.
Unfortunately, though, when you get into the conversation of splitting off to multiple realities, it kind of brings me to Rick and Morty, where Rick says nothing matters because there are infinite dimensions and stuff, and you can just split off and do whatever the fuck you want. So okay, cool, we get a Loki TV show now. He's not actually dead again. It's just I don't care. Sure, that might be a plot hole, but in the end, that doesn't really affect too much of Endgame itself. Plot holes to me are only troublesome when, they seem too convenient to the plot, or they feel like they help out our heroes.
The only one I considered a plot hole was the stones got destroyed, but nothing happened.
Now, here's the thing with that plot hole, though. That's a really easy fix, where you just have that line saying the stones make up everything. If they're destroyed, then they do this. If you just get rid of that line...
if you got rid of that line, there would be nothing to judge that basis off.
So, that, to me, that's not that big of a plot
It was just
hole,
an immediate contradiction, almost.
It is. I mean, I'm sure if you really look for it,
it was just
foolish
to place that there.
The thing with these plot holes is they don't really affect how the ending is. The ending is still super fulfilling, and I'm still so satisfied with this movie. This movie as a whole, I'm so satisfied.
Yes,
everything happened, and I'm yes, this is good. Everybody's wrapped up good. Everything's good. All this. And all the plot holes don't really affect that at all. It's just kind of after
if you're not looking for a plot hole, there is no plot hole.
Well, every good movie has plot holes. Whiplash has plot holes. The Dark Knight has plot holes. Lord of the Rings has plot holes.
Especially with time travel, you can't have a time travel movie without plot holes because it's impossible. And I think they handled it so well. They handled it
way better than they could have.
It
could have been so much worse. And I want to quickly shout out one of the best moments, and I know it's probably your guys' favorite moment. Fucking Cap wielding Mjolnir during that ending.
That moment.
That moment got me in that moment.
Is legendary.
What I love about that moment is that it was set up in the most tiny little way in Age of Ultron, which that movie is known as a bad movie, and in a way it's really just set up and clues to every other Marvel movie. It doesn't really hold well as its own movie, but that tiny little moment where they're all playing around trying to lift up the hammer, and Cap moves it a tiny bit, and you cut to Thor's face, and he's like, oh shit, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then Cap's just like, oh, I can't lift it, like, haha. Not a single mention of it ever again for years and years of movies. And then that moment happens, and like it's in the back of your mind the whole time. You're kind of thinking like, I wonder if Cap, but like it's never in the forefront until that moment. And when it happens, it's so satisfying. And Thor says, "I knew it." Like, I just love that. The tiniest little setup is just enough for an immense payoff. It's just amazing.
It is great, and I remember being in theaters watching Age of Ultron and seeing that moment and thinking it was just a joke when he nudged it. I thought that it was only just to make the audience laugh. Of like,
That's
oh, he
most
nudged it a
people
little
thought
bit.
that.
Uh-huh.
That's good setup where it's hidden. It's
Yeah,
hidden in
it
plain
really
sight.
it really did pay off. Like,
You need good setup that seems like something else, and then pay it off in a huge fucking way. And you're like, oh shit, it meant something else.
I don't know about you guys, but my theater cheered more at that than
Yeah.
anything in the film.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Well, I think
like,
because the whole
in Infinity-
for me, I Am Iron Man was like the most impactful moment of the entire movie.
Right.
You
I
mean,
don't
that
cheer at
one's-
that.
I didn't get
think in
cheers
Infinity
exactly.
War-
That was like, oh shit, he's dying now.
Yeah. I think in Infinity War, the most fuck yeah moment was when Thor arrives on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's my
Everybody
favorite.
cheered.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite
That's one of my
moment.
favorite
Yeah.
moments, not only in Marvel movies but in movies ever. Like that was just amazing.
Yeah, that is
and then
a fire
and then
moment.
Cap wielding Mjolnir is the same
Yeah, that's
thing.
up there.
But that one had like a reference payoff that is insane. Like I didn't think that the Thor arriving moment of like just the greatness of feeling, oh yeah, here we go, was, I don't think you could top that. But they kind of did with this.
Well,
I, like,
because with the Thor one, it's like everyone's getting their asses kicked by a bunch of random CGI monsters that we don't care about. But with this, it was Iron Man and Thor are about to die from Thanos, and then Cap shows up holding Mjolnir. It's like, oh, fuck yeah.
Oh my god!
And I almost it's not like I was expecting it to happen either. I was like, it was just so much stuff was going on, and the best thing about this movie is they had so much stuff going on that you couldn't think about anything else. Like, what's going on over here? What's going on with this other group? It doesn't it doesn't matter because every time something happened, you're so invested in that one thing. So when they were battling, you were just like, oh my god, like, oh, I'm focused on, all right, this person's on the screen. This, oh my god, Thor's on the screen. He's gonna die. Oh, the mule. Oh my god, everything just happened, and you're like, holy shit! It just happened so fast that when it happened, you just had to cheer.
I want to point out that fight is one of my favorite fights of the whole franchise because that's the only fight other than like probably the Avengers versus Thanos in Infinity War where I truly believed like someone's dying. Like this is like this is the climactic fight. Like when he was pushing Stormbringer into Thor's chest.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck! Like. They never got that brutal with fights before. Like, he tears apart Captain America's shield like it's nothing. Iron Man gets knocked out right away in the fight. It's like, holy shit,
they were
this
getting
is
their
brutal.
dicks fucked.
I hate to point it out. That was another gripe that a lot of people did have. Because it was like, or I just remember a lot of people were like, so Thanos with 5 out of the 6 Infinity Stones or whatever can't. He's like takes on a bunch of like lesser Avengers, and they're just like they can take him. But then he's like, when it's Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America, the 3 biggest boys of the MCU,
I had this
and then he's like, dude, I don't give a fuck. I'm beating the shit out of all 3 of you right here, right now, with no Infinity Stones. It was like, that's a little... Okay.
I had this complaint,
I had
but after
kind of
closer
I
analysis,
had kind of a
you
gripe
can
with that, but
justify it.
I also think I justify it with when Thanos arrives in Infinity War. How many people are there trying to stop him before he gets to Vision?
Well, that's what I'm about to say. He was ambushed,
just pushes
too.
Aside,
He wasn't even ready for a fight.
He pushes aside everybody. He just 1, 2, 3. Everybody goes up to him like bang, bang, bang. Everybody just gets thrown away. Cap kind of slows him down for a second.
Well, yeah, but I'm not talking about that scene. I'm talking about when he's
talking about where they almost got the gauntlet off.
When they
But,
I know. No, I get that. But that was kind of like the justification moment for me of like, oh, he can't, like, he can take down the 3 right there, but there were so many more in Wakanda. There were so many more Avengers there in Wakanda, and he was able to just throw them
Well,
to
he
the
had
side
this
as
Well,
stone.
he
also,
should.
the very beginning of Infinity War, he doesn't use a single stone on the Hulk, and he beats the fucking shit out of him like it's nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think Thanos himself is strong enough to handle himself.
And we also have an Iron Man and Captain America and Thor that are not in their prime at all.
Yeah,
Especially
so
Iron
Camden,
Man.
I had
Buildings
I had
dropped
the
on
same
them,
exact
like-
complaint, but when you analyze it just like logically, Infinity War, he was going to his planet like not expecting to fight anything, and he got ambushed by like 6 people. Yeah, he had the gauntlet and the stones, but the only reason why they even came close to like semi-winning that fight is because the antenna chick, Mantis, like knocked them out pretty much with her thing. Because that's all they did was like prevent him from using the gauntlet, and then she knocked him
Yeah.
out. Like that was it. They didn't win a fight.
Also, they had a special plan of how they were going to do it. They
Yeah,
knew he
and
was coming.
then in this one,
Yeah.
Thanos is like, he's ready for war. Like, he's bringing
he's
his
just
entire
sitting there
ship
waiting
and his
for them.
army. Like, he wants blood this time. The
Yeah,
other time, he
and
wasn't
here
expecting it.
Yeah, they weren't even ready for him
And-
to be here.
and
They almost all got killed by the crush
They
of
just,
the
they just
building.
got nuked. They just got Hiroshima and Nagasaki'd and then climbed out from underneath a building. And then on top of that, they haven't been Thor, Cap, or Iron Man for 5 years. They haven't done
Yeah.
a single thing for 5 years.
And in the end, like, you could still argue that it is the stretches believability that he's so overpowered there, where he's still able to like tear apart Captain America's shield and
Yeah.
beat the shit out of all 3 of them. But which would you rather have? The 3 of them kick his ass and that's it, or the 3 of them get their asses kicked? I mean, they still like put up a damn good fight.
Yeah,
but it's like the
exactly.
whole
No,
feeling of
yeah.
like,
Oh,
there's no way they're
I
gonna
feel
win.
like it was
the
one-sided.
moment where Captain America stands back up and faces Thanos and the entire army just standing there alone is such a
Fucking Jon
magical moment,
Snow.
because you truly believe like this is it, this is the end, and then all of a sudden you
Yeah.
hear like on your left and everyone comes in, the
Yeah,
huge heroic
that
moment,
was
like
fucking cool.
that
On your
that
left.
moment is one of my favorite moments of the
Yeah,
entire
I get
series.
chills every time I see that scene.
Like that would not be nearly as impactful if it was like an even fight and they're like, "Ooh, it's a good fight, Thanos. Now my army rolls in." Like
I completely agree with Chris, and honestly, this is what I say about everything. When it comes to Game of Thrones or Marvel or Star Wars or anything like that, anything ever made, I feel like it's so unnecessary to only focus on the negatives and to pick apart like, oh, this could have been done better, or this is a major gripe I have. Because at the end of the day, it all boils down to a bunch of writers in a room thinking, hey, this could work. Like this could
It's-
work, and like this might actually be really cool.
it's all about setup and payoff. If you're setting something up and you're setting up our expectations for something, the payoff needs to be either what we expect or to succeed our expectations in a new
Game of
interesting
Thrones
way.
episode 3?
So if you set up that Endgame is the final movie and people are going to die and everyone's depressed and Thanos is unstoppable, you show that. And that's what the movie showed. Infinity War. And all of us didn't want Thanos to snap his fingers, but we all wanted him to snap his fingers because that's what the movie promised us.
Yes.
So when he snapped his fingers, we were all our hearts were broken, and we're like, "That's it, that's the end." But at the same time, we got what we wanted. So
Exactly.
that's it's satisfying. It's only when you set up something and then you go against the story that you've been telling.
Yeah,
I won't say what I'm talking about, but we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just coughed
Yeah,
and,
we all
and
know.
said it.
Yeah. So
Another. All right, yeah. So I think we should
Yeah,
also
when
just
Thor
point out
got
some other.
fat.
Yeah, when Thor
So speaking of good things, I think we should also like point out some other like good moments about this movie because there's a lot. that
Yes,
we
there's a
don't
lot
know.
to gush about.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to
I'm
say
glad-
the one
No,
my
you go
favorite.
ahead.
Yeah, my favorite Captain Marvel moment because you know she has none.
when she wasn't there,
Yeah.
Damn.
No, my favorite Captain Marvel moment was
Yeah.
when
Was-
Thanos popped the Power Stone out of the gauntlet. And
oh
just-
yeah, that was really
Yeah.
cool.
You're a fat ass. I was trying to say it.
Sometimes you just gotta
you're
spit it
fucking
out.
smart.
You suck the dick too much, you keep it in your mouth. It's like a little baby binky for you. Just
Oh, wow.
Jesus Christ, that was
Fight,
vulgar.
getting hostile.
fight.
Yeah, but like Captain Marvel, whatever, if you do or you don't like her as a character, I think that moment where she like actually can withstand Thanos, just like, oh shit, that's fucking awesome, another fuck yeah moment, and
Yeah.
it's good for her character because I think her character is personally.
I'm happy
weak.
because one of my fears coming into this movie is that, especially with the ending of Infinity War, the post-credit scene, I thought she was going to be the key to defeating Thanos and she would be the savior. And it's like, that feels cheap. You've built up Iron Man, Captain America,
Yeah.
Thor, all
Yeah.
these characters, and then it's this brand new character out of nowhere that comes in and saves the day. But instead, she does help save the day at the very beginning, but then it's that empty victory. And it's like, sorry, I got to peace out. It's like, good. I get to follow the characters I've been following for 11
Yeah, I
years,
get
finish
that.
this story, not Captain Marvel. That
Yeah.
made me happy.
Also, I mean, if you saw Captain Marvel, you see how overpowered they made her.
Yeah.
And going back to that whole Thanos discussion, he threw her around.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
True.
Like, she just flew through a ship and crashed it, and he was like, nah, bitch.
Yeah.
Another great moment that I really liked was Pepper Potts in the Iron Man suit.
Oh, I love that.
Yep, of course, that was awesome.
That was
wait,
fantastic.
or she's
I like
Iron
how
Lady.
much Cap did in this movie because he didn't do
Yeah,
too
actually-
much in Infinity War. So I'm
Fun
glad
fact,
he
Camden-
got a lot.
Fun fact, Camden, I looked it up. For screen time of Endgame, estimated screen time for
Yeah.
characters,
Cap had the highest, didn't he?
Iron Man had an hour and 2 minutes, and Cap had an hour and 6 minutes. They both were the highest. They were the only ones over an
Dang.
hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they-
then
they
Thor, I
definitely
think, had
had a
like
lot of
4.
attention.
Thor had like 48 minutes. Something
Yeah,
like
his
that.
40s.
Yeah,
Dang.
yeah.
Another great moment was Thor in his house when they're playing Fortnite. I really like that.
Oh, yep.
That was
Korg and
awesome.
Meek. I love Korg and Meek.
Yeah,
If they're doing Disney Plus shows of all these other characters that I don't care about, give me a Korg and Meek show.
Yeah, at least have Korg.
I'll watch that.
Another moment that I really enjoy, and that actually I was looking at Infinity War again. I was like, oh, that's really cool. They set that up. Is Infinity War when we first see Tony, he's talking with Pepper, and he says, I had a dream that we had a kid, and we named him after one of your uncles. What was
Yeah.
his name? And she says, Morgan. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like
remember
that.
watching
I like that
Yep.
shit.
As far as the scene that I liked, honestly, anything that involved the Hulk, I was just laughing my ass off.
Yeah,
with.
we-
Oh my
Oh.
god. Listen to your mother, kids. She knows best.
Yes.
He's like, dab, dab.
Yeah.
And he did like
Yeah.
a half dad dab.
He's like, hey, tiny person, I'll take a picture with you.
Ant-Man.
that's awesome.
Everyone say
Ant-Man's
green.
great.
Yeah.
Ant-Man's
they made
always
the whole-
great.
I love how they actually put that joke in there with like no one really caring about Ant-Man because as far as like Marvel movies go, like it's like
He's the
Ant-Man's
most
not
lackluster
one.
movie.
Yeah, you just like it's Ant-Man. That's one of the comedy
gives a
movies.
fuck.
Like you don't really care, and they literally make that like he's just a fanboy in the movies. Like no one knows who he is. The kids are like, nah, we don't want a picture with him. I like that that's in there, like. Because that's like
Yeah.
relatable to actual people who
And I mean,
watch the movie.
but that's also been the running gag since the first film. Like one of the jokes in Ant-Man is like, all right, I think our first move should be calling the Avengers. Like that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I do like that every character wasn't brushed over. Every character had their moment to shine. Because
Yeah.
there were a lot of characters in this movie. Even in the final battle, with all the people that were brought back, they even got moments to shine, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't think they would be able to do that very, very well, considering that there's so many fucking people on the damn screen. I was like I said, and I've told this to you, and then I leaned to my dad during the movie when the final battles happened. I'm like, Dad, this is fucking Game of Thrones. There are so many characters that are actually like developed, and that you don't really know who, like you don't remember who they all are when they're all on the screen.
And
There's
what's
so many
crazy is that this is all like A-list people, and a lot of these A-list people started from they got A-list because of Marvel.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt, he was on Parks and Rec, and everyone loved him there, but I don't think he got really like A-listed.
Yeah,
till,
he wasn't A-list. It was-
Chris
yeah.
Evans either. Chris Evans wasn't a big actor until Captain America came around. Really, even Chris Hemsworth. And then Tony Stark fucking Robert Downey Jr. That was like his comeback.
The only person off the
man.
The only person off the top of my head that I can think of who had a very big career before was Scarlett Johansson and Benedict Cumberbatch
And Samuel L.
Yeah.
Jackson.
and Samuel L. Jackson.
yeah.
Jeremy Renner a little bit.
Jeremy
with-
Renner, yeah.
with the
yeah.
Hurt Locker.
Just look when the credits were rolling, because they had pretty much every like actor that is like kind of well known in like even like when they were going back in time, they had their,
Yeah, they
like,
got
well-known
Robert
when they were in New
Redford
York,
for
they had
like 4
yeah,
minutes.
They had Natalie Portman in the movie. She said 0 lines, and she's an Oscar-winning actress.
Yeah,
like
what the
think
hell?
about that. An Oscar-winning actress is in this film, and she said nothing. That is just insane. That just shows
She's
you how
in
big
2
this cast is.
shots.
They
She's
had
in 2
the
shots of the
fucking.
movie.
They had
I think
Harley from
that-
Iron Man 3 come back just to stand there at the end for everyone in the audience to go, "Who's that kid?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I honestly think the stuff with Natalie Portman is just extra stuff from Thor 2. I don't. I
Yeah,
don't know
that
if
actually
they-
wasn't an interview. People weren't sure if she actually came back to film or
Yeah,
if
I don't
they
know.
just
She was at the
reused
premiere.
clips.
I saw that she was at the premiere.
Yeah,
but
she was at
everybody's
the
still
premiere,
speculating.
so that
I
raised
have no clue.
questions
Well,
like,
they
oh,
definitely
she supports
got-
the movie.
They
'Cause
definitely got
she had
Robert
a
Redford
disagreement with
back.
them.
Yes, they definitely got Robert Redford back.
Yes.
Which
for
that's
that
even
one.
crazier because he's an old fucker.
Right.
They even got Stan
Also-
Lee back, and he's dead.
Too soon. Too soon.
I think it was cool.
I
I
love
was
Stan
reading
Lee.
the
I'm
thing.
really sorry.
The Russo brothers have successfully gotten all the characters from Community in one of the Marvel films.
Wait, they got all the characters from Community in there?
Yeah, like I haven't really watched Community, but like the main group, like the Asian guy was the cop where the rat let Ant-Man out of the thing.
Yeah,
he was
he's not in the main
monitor
group or whatever.
Yeah. Yvette Nicole Brown was in the 1975
Yeah,
scene.
yeah, she surely
Yeah.
was there.
Isn't Donald Glover in that show too?
Donald Glover's in Spider-Man.
And he was in
Homecoming.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Oh, and
Yep.
well, he wasn't in the Russo brothers movies.
Well, not the Russo brothers, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that it was what I think the Russo brothers like worked with those actors or something. I forget what it was. But
they worked on Community a lot, and they did.
Yeah,
they
that's
directed
why-
a bunch of episodes of Community. So yeah,
Yeah, that's what it was. They were all trying like so even if they
and
weren't
Arrested
directly
Development, and so they had a bunch of Arrested Development Easter eggs in Infinity War.
Yeah, even if they weren't working on the movie directly, I think it was their plan to try and get them to at least cameo in all the films. That's why they put them in there because of their connection or whatever.
Now, is there?
I do
anything
think
else?
the Russo brothers have made the 4 best Marvel movies in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think that
They're-
that's
they're
definitely
the
fair to say. I
They're
think
the
that they're
Miguel Sapochniks.
yeah they're the Miguel
But
Sapochniks of
One of the
the
other
MCU.
things that I can greatly appreciate about the movie too, and you pick up on it on some obvious things, but the more of a fan you are of the MCU, the more you pick up on it. They had so many callbacks and references to
Yes.
all of their
Yeah.
other movies. Like there was so many lines or just background stuff where it's like, oh hey, that's from blah blah blah. Like Chris, you made that joke, or not the joke. You talked about how the bad joke from Infinity War about the Tony Stark flavored ice cream. That scene where they're figuring out their plan, the Hulk is actually eating that Ben and Jerry's Tony Stark flavored ice cream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's so many like references and nods to just different lines and different things that have been said in past movies. Like I said, the more of a fan you are of it, the more you'll pick up on, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's really cool. Oh, I like that they did that." So I appreciate that because
It almost
I
feels like-
recognized a lot of them.
It almost feels like with the Russo brothers, especially after doing Winter Soldier and then Civil War, and then MCU was like, or Marvel was like, look, just take the 2 biggest movies that we need you guys to do. We're just gonna let you do it because
Yeah.
these 2 movies really felt like movies to me. They didn't feel like products or a
Right.
piece of a larger puzzle.
Completely
They were the epic finales. They were they were artistic, like projects, you know, and things like that, the little details that I'm sure were part of the Russo brothers. Like, it's really hard for something to feel genuine and like magical when a huge like corporation is
Yeah,
behind it, a
'cause-
studio.
yeah, it's
but
more like a
the
studio
the brains of 2 men who know what they're doing and have people who can help them complete it. That's what creates, you know, art pretty much.
Yeah,
Creates
exactly.
a masterpiece.
They're fucking rock stars. And honestly, like, is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you guys want to talk about before we give our like ratings and stuff?
We already talked about Iron Man. and
Yeah,
everything.
that's.
I'm
obviously,
happy.
that's amazing.
Here's the thing. I went into this movie wanting a lot of death, and I didn't get much death, but Iron Man's death was worth 10 of them. Like,
Yes.
in the end, he was my
Yeah.
favorite character. I remember seeing Iron Man 1 when it was in theaters. Like, just like, oh, I've heard this is good. And I was like, fuck, how old was I? I was probably 9 years old? Or 11. I was 11. Shit.
Yeah, 11.
I'm just like, oh, okay, this will be cool.
9/11.
Woo, yeah, okay. Anyway, but yeah, like his death was everything I wanted to be, and it made so much sense. Like the funeral, painting over every single character in the MCU. It's like he started it all, and to me, like that's more powerful than, you know, a bunch of other deaths. Like that sealed the deal for the movie being the finale.
Yeah,
that I wanted to be.
it was cool because going into it, everyone was like, well, going into Infinity War, everyone was like, dude, I don't know how many people are going to die in Infinity War. And then half the people died in Infinity War, but not the people you thought. I remember it being like, who do you think Cap's going to die or Iron Man's more likely to die? Who do you think in Infinity War?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And then Endgame came around and it was like, all right, now
Someone's
it's
dying.
all but
Who is it?
confirmed that someone, if not multiple people, are dying in this movie. I thought Cap. I just thought Cap. I was just like, it makes most sense just because his contract's up and he likes it the least.
Yeah.
So I feel like Cap was the more talked about death, or that was more likely going to happen. But like, I just thought, like, I was like, Iron Man could die, Thor could die, Cap could die, all of them could die. What, like, they're just like,
that was the real
starting
kicker.
over. And then it was
I
like
think-
just the fact that it was just Iron Man that made it so huge.
Yeah, I think if anybody else of like, if they had more deaths, like of like the main 6 or whatever, I think it would have been. I think it would have been kind of taken away from each other because you're like,
Yes.
oh man, this,
Yeah.
and that. I think if Cap died, I would have been like, we would have been robbed of the ending that Cap has in this, and I think that would have been a shame because the ending that
Which
Yeah,
Cap's ending
this
in
is better than his
perfect.
death.
See,
Yeah.
Cap's
Yeah.
ending is perfect, but in an interview,
better than him dying.
in an interview with the Russo brothers, they actually just confirmed that Chris Evans is not done with his role as Captain America, and we'll find out how soon. So
Really?
he's not done yet.
When-
His contract ended with Infinity War, and
Yep.
then he
You
was like,
you
"All right, I'll
always say
do
these big
Endgame."
things, and
Because
I'm like, where
there
do you
was
get them
this-
from?
This was in an interview with the Russo brothers directly.
Well, I'll
But-
find that first, but I'm not believing that until I see
Well,
that.
here's the thing too. I wasn't going to mention this on the podcast because I didn't want to
Robert
like.
Downey Jr. is going to be back in it.
Yeah, I think he'll be back
just-
for a cameo.
I feel
But
like
I didn't want
why-
to. I didn't want
why?
to say
Why
this
do
in the
more?
podcast because I didn't want to open a can of worms. But like in the comics wise, Cap does become an old man, and he becomes the director of Shield, and he's the director of Shield for a while. And then he gets blasted. I think it's by the Tesseract, and it rejuvenates him and makes him the young super soldier again. And
Oh
he
yeah, we
becomes
were
Captain
talking about
America
that.
again.
And
So-
what I
That's
said
dumb.
to
They
that
kinda-
was,
The problem is with comic book movies is that comics everybody dies and comes back. And gets
Yeah,
old
people
and
have
dies
died in
and comes
comics
back.
like 10
That's
times
how, that's how
over.
it
They
happens.
do that
in the
all
movies. I
fucking
think it'll be.
time.
I think they're gonna. I think they'll kind of be a little bit easier on that. I
Yeah.
think obviously Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
will be back for
But I
like because
think-
he's AI or whatever.
Yeah.
Like all of his recordings, and then if his daughter becomes Iron Man or something in the future, he'll be in the suit like Jarvis or whatever. Like I'm sure that'll happen. I wouldn't
I
be
think
surprised.
if they do more with Chris Evans as Captain America, I don't think they would go that route of the comic books. I think it would be more of like kind of like him just having a cameo in the movie.
Yeah,
or
I
him.
think if anything,
I
he'll
could
come
see
back
them
and
doing
be a
the
mentor.
whole director of Shield thing. I could see that
Maybe,
because
yeah.
he could.
I'm
keep the
sure
old
he'll
man
have
form.
minor like.
I
cameo
think
type
it'll be
stuff.
minor. I
just
think
feel like
he
the
might have
idea
an
of-
impact on training new heroes as an old man, just as like like that old war vet who is like, yeah, my body's
Yeah.
not good, but my mind is. Here's strategy.
I think the idea of getting blown back into a younger self is too weird for movies. It's just that's just
because
a
there's
comic book thing
there's things that can
happen.
exist in comics that are just off the wall, but as far as like a film
Yeah.
standpoint, there's certain things you just can't do.
Well, also,
Yeah.
it just completely spoils of the moment in Endgame and basically his character in general. Like his ending is perfect because he does what Iron Man wanted him to do. Iron Man's sacrifice meant that Cap could do that. So for then
Yeah.
Cap to get another chance, it's like, fuck off.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
already
not
had
really
plenty
a
of
fan of that.
chances, so
Just move
Yeah,
on.
well,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. We don't need to dwell what's on the future. What happened here in this movie was
It's
fantastic.
fucking awesome.
Yes.
The way they wrapped up all the characters.
Now-
Didn't think they could do it. I think he did it perfectly.
yes.
What? Let's go one by one, starting with Daniel. What would you rate this movie 1 through 10?
I rated it at the beginning 10 out of 10.
Whoa, fuck.
A perfect movie. All right. Daniel's ranking system's a little different, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm ranking for enjoyment, I'm not critiquing minor things and being
That's
like,
fair,
oh, they
that's
could have
fair,
done
yeah.
this better. I'm rating this as comparing to every other movie I've ever seen. This is probably my favorite movie I've ever seen.
All right, gotcha. I am gonna give this an 8 out of 10 right now because I think it really is the grand finale of all of these years. It's the age-old question has always been, what will be the Star Wars killer? What will be the Star Wars, like the new Godfather of cinema? I honestly think the MCU has went above and beyond and completely revolutionized the film industry. The fact that, like, I remember in 2013 when Frozen became the 5th highest grossing film of all time, I don't even think it's in the top 15 anymore because of
Yeah.
how many of these MCU films that are fucking crushing it. And, like, I'm so grateful that I got to be there every step of the way. This film fucking rocks.
Connor?
I would also give the film an 8 out of 10. Now, I agree with Spencer. The MCU this is something that I think will stand the test of time of, like, when you look back and, like, tell your kids, like, oh, you gotta watch these movies. This is probably one of the biggest and best movie series that'll ever be. Because not only is it just super long, which, like, what is it, 22, 23 movies?
22 movies, which, by the way, if you add up the runtime of every
I was
MCU
about to
movie,
say this,
including
you
Spider-Man Far From Home, you get 3,000 minutes. I
Yup.
love you,
Jesus
3,000.
I was gonna say that, you turd.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but, like, if you add up all those movies, you don't even need to watch them all. It's just like, hey, like, we can just pick and choose, like, a movie from the series to watch. A lot of them just work on their own, and that's
And
great.
skip Ant-Man.
Well, you could skip a lot of them in that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But there really
Why that one
is
of
just
all?
a
There's a lot you
multitude.
could
There's,
skip.
I think the best part about it is that it's like, oh, who's your favorite hero? Let's watch their movie. That's something that's really awesome. That not only
Yeah.
works on the multitude of a whole bunch of films come into a climactic point, but also you can just go watch one film and enjoy it. And I don't think many, if anything, can compare to that. So I think that I think that Endgame wrapped it up perfectly.
As someone, yet again, Marvel, I was never the biggest fan of it. I still watched a good chunk of the movies. I remember watching the Avengers, having only seen the Iron Man movies, and that was it. But it still worked completely, and I still liked the characters of Thor and Captain America and everyone. So this movie series is a massive undertaking that should not have worked at all, but it somehow did. They may have had a few slip-ups along the way, but they always nailed the big ones that they needed to. And for me, it ramped up and finished at its strongest with the final two movies, which, like I say, the ending is the most important part. And so, in the end, I will look back on kind of the MCU as something positive because of the amazing ending that it gave me. I'm going to rank Endgame an 8 out of 10 as well. Even though I have nothing but praise for the movie, the reason why I can't rank it higher is just because once you pass 8 out of 10, you're reaching into, like, really special movies that, like, connect with me, like, forever, and I'm always going to look on them as something amazing. Possibly, maybe a couple years down the line after I've seen Endgame more and I've seen the other MCU movies, maybe I'll kind of look at Endgame as something even larger than that, because it is the epic finisher. I mean, usually they fuck up endings. Usually any movie series, any trilogy or TV show, it's just a common thing for people to fuck up the endings, because the ending's the hardest part. But they absolutely, they did it. So this movie was fantastic, and I applaud the Russo brothers for creating these double movies that were the biggest movies of all time, pretty much, and absolutely blowing us away.
I would also give an 8 out of 10. As a reference point, I'm pretty sure Infinity War was also an 8 out of 10. I really like that a lot of the Marvel movies can't really be taken as seriously. I really like that Infinity War and Endgame can be like, these are like serious ass movies that aren't just like superheroes fighting each other. It's like a big deal, and I like that we can think back on that being like, the Infinity War and Endgame finished this thing out super strong. So I'm really glad that they did that.
I just remember. I remember back when, like, Civil War was out, everybody would, like, I especially remember Chris, because this like when Civil War came out and like past that point, I remember, like, Chris was always just like, I'm not too big into the MCU. They all kind of, like, just seem the same to me, and I know a lot of people were like that. But once you got into, like, 2017 and those films and stuff like that, the movie started to take, like, to a different level, and I think that's when the MCU crowd really realized how big that this was and how amazing this could be. The films just got better and better past that point, and I think that it built up to the end perfectly and ended amazingly.
Well, I think that actually started with Civil War. I think that was the first time where I heard that, like, everyone I knew was going to see that. The first time I think that they stepped it up was when the Russo brothers came. When,
Come on, Matt. Are you 12?
It all starts with a good nut.
but I think it all started when the Russo brothers directed Winter Soldier, and it was like, holy shit, this is really different. I really like this one. This
It's
is
not a
different
superhero
approach.
movie.
Yeah, it was a different approach to it. And then Civil War was like the Russo brothers coming back. Everyone's fighting each other. It's Avengers 2.5, and so everyone was like, I'm watching this movie. That was the first time I really got that feeling. And after that, and everyone was like, yeah, I really like that. And for the most part, everyone was like, that was really cool. And then everyone was in on the Marvel train after that.
It finally became like an upper echelon where it's like, oh, it's like a Star Wars film. Like everybody's got to go see this. Once
Yeah.
Marvel film, once you got to that tier, and everybody's like, oh, it's a Marvel film that's coming out. We all got to go see it. That's when you know that you made it big, and that's when it's awesome.
I brought it up the other day, but in retrospect, 2014 is a pretty big year for Marvel because with Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier, like Winter Soldier was kind of what made Captain America like cool. Like he's now cool.
Yeah.
And then Guardians was a pivotal moment for the MCU. Like imagine if that shit tanked. Imagine if like no one showed up. Like would Endgame have happened? Or I mean it would have, but like would it have been cool?
It wouldn't be as impactful. I'm so glad that they got Chris Pratt for that, because it would just not be the same without Chris Pratt.
It's an interesting question of why certain, franchises, certain superheroes, their own movies work. Like, you got the Guardians of the Galaxy, which everyone said, I don't know if this is going to be a good movie. This seems too goofy. And it ended up working out perfectly. And then you got examples like Doctor Strange, which is a very mediocre movie that no one really talks about. But then Doctor Strange in Infinity War is really cool, and everyone loves him. Or, for example, with us, Black Panther is really cool in Civil War, has a great introduction, but then we really don't care for his actual movie. Or Spider-Man. Spider-Man is really cool in Civil War. He's really cool in Infinity War. His own movie, it was good. It's good,
I actually like.
It's like
I liked him in his own movie. I think he was just as cool as he was in Civil War. I think my biggest problem was that the suit did too much. But then I really liked when it was like, I need to learn how to be without the suit, and then he did.
Yeah, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it at all.
Yeah, I think it was built for that.
But okay, so
I think all the films definitely work on their own.
But I'm just bringing the question to, so why do certain superheroes, their movies just work and then others don't?
One thing I can say to that is Marvel, and this is something they were really fucking great about, they were always very self-aware about what they were doing. Like, with Guardians of the Galaxy, like, part of the joke was there's a name you might know me by, Star-Lord. And he's just like, who? Like they're very self-aware that it's stupid. Like they know that it's a stupid thing.
There's a raccoon running around with a gun.
And same thing with Ant-Man.
Guardians worked so well because of James Gunn.
Is it too late to change the name? Like he says that in Ant-Man. So they were very aware of the fact that it was ridiculous.
Guardians and Ant-Man are all from their directors, and also Ant-Man more Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is just amazing, but James Gunn is an amazing funny director, so I'm glad he's back for 3.
I wonder if Ant-Man would have been up in the tier of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 if what's his face had actually gotten to make the movie.
Yeah, if Edgar Wright
fired. I mean, if Edgar Wright had gotten to make the movie. I mean, he's fucking great at action comedy.
I think that with Edgar Wright though, he's such an individual filmmaker that I have I don't think he would have gotten enough. Film would have ended up being like.
I don't think he would have gotten enough rights or just like
control.
Enough control, enough creative control, and then so it would have like been clashing.
Yeah, to kind of answer your question, Chris, I think the reason why, obviously, I think it's just kind of accepted that the MCU was kind of like weak and lackluster at the beginning because not all the movies kind of worked and some of them were just lame. And as it went on, the MCU just kind of got better and better. I think it's because at the beginning, all the movies kind of just blended together and were kind of the same thing. It's just, the superhero, you're introducing them, they're learning what they are, and they win. But once you get to, like, Guardians and stuff like that, like, they have their own shtick. Like, Guardians, they're, like, the funny, like, kind of, like, outcast type deal. Like, you got Spider-Man is just, like, a fun summer blockbuster. Captain America is like the serious, like kind of.
Spider-Man's also the hero everyone had been waiting for so long. They're like, let Spider-Man into the MCU. Come on, he's definitely the most well-known Marvel superhero.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the reason why the movies just got better and like why all the standalones worked later on is because they were able to develop their own personal shtick opposed from when they're all together. Because for the most part, all the movies that had multiple heroes and Avengers together, they all worked really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The ones alone kind of were lackluster at the beginning because it's like, I don't really know who this is. What's different about them? They kind of figured that out as they went along, which made them better. And I think that's why later on all the solo films worked really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think now that we've given our scores, I think if there are no more questions, then that might be a wrap.
I wanted to say one thing, that because this is the end of the phase of Marvel in a way, and we're entering a new era, that nothing will match this. But I do think one thing that could help the new era of Marvel is, number one, if they've been making these movies for so long that they kind of get they know how to make them good now. So the mistakes that they made early on with their standalone movies, hopefully they won't make those same mistakes. So the movies are consistently better. Another thing is if they somehow tie in X-Men and the Fantastic Four, but make them good, and
they will.
Just get in a lot of other heroes that
They got
know.
the rights to them.
Yeah, if they manage to do that and get an actor who's an amazing Wolverine, that could get to something.
Doubtful.
Well, I
Don't
don't
go into
Doubtful.
super comic book nerdy moments, but the next, because you after you watch these movies, you ask yourself what villain can possibly top Thanos, and apparently there's only one other one in the comics, and he's
Galactus
tied to the
or
X-Men.
something.
So if they want to
Galactus.
introduce Galactus, they have to bring in the X-Men.
They hinted at him in one of the fucking movies when they were showing off the Power Stone.
Yeah,
I think it was Guardians 2.
Yeah,
It was a little hintity hint.
I don't think Marvel will learn from their mistakes or anything, though. I don't think they're going to make movies nearly as good as Infinity War or Endgame, because I just think that especially it's the Russo brothers are we're not going to direct anymore. They probably
they're done.
You have to take in
So,
consideration the directors
they had
movies.
they had so much creative control over Infinity
Yeah.
War and Endgame, to where it's we're going to make these more serious movies, and I think the MCU knows that we're still going to make money. We don't have to work too hard
Yeah.
to get people to go. This was
Yeah.
just a project they were working towards for so long. I don't think they're going to jump right into we need to try as hard as we did with Infinity War and Endgame for Spider-Man Far From Home. So
The one thing I'm
I don't think
hoping
it'll get as good.
I obviously this is about Endgame, but I am hoping in Far From Home, because since that's technically the end of this phase of Marvel movies, I'm hoping that there is just a scene where there's just a public dedication to Tony Stark, of
That would be cool.
if it's just a TV ad of yeah, Tony Stark, the Iron Man, that guy. He gave his life to make sure the rest of us came back. Just a tribute.
I bet they will,
To
yeah.
to the public of the people in the MCU. I hope there's a scene like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
That brings our discussion to an end.
I think we're in the
does.
end game now.
we are in the end game.
Mm.
Thank you all for listening. We loved having you. We loved talking to you.
We love you 3000.
And I am Connor Godfrey.
And this is my mugshot.
And I was going to say that. I am arrested.
We love you all.
guys are dicks.
Bye
Bye-bye.